The first time Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tablets with the 10 commandments on them, he saw that Israel had made a golden calf that they were bowing down and worshiping, and he got so angry that he smashed those tablets on the rocks. Well, the time came that he had to go back to the top of the mountain to get God to make new tablets. And God said, I ain't cutting those things out again. You make 2 tablets and I'll write on them. Of course, he did that. Moses comes down from the mountain one more time, and this time his brother Aaron and all the Israelite leaders look at Moses and they run for their lives like they'd seen a ghost. Moses finally realized, hey, my face is glowing. I was so close to God that he made my face glow. What a big difference. You remember the story of Moses. Born in Egypt, he grew up in the king's palace until one day as a man he murdered someone and had to run for his life, hundreds of miles away out in the wilderness. He finally met a girl, got married, settled down, and became a shepherd. And for years and years he tended the sheep out in the wilderness until one day God encountered him at the burning bush. Well, this bush is not on fire, but you get the point. God said to Moses, hey man, I know what's going on down in Egypt. I know those people are slaves and I'm tired of that. I'm getting ready to lead them out of Egypt. I'm going to lead them into the land that I've been promising them for hundreds of years. And here's the best part. Guess who's going to lead them out of Egypt? Yeah, that's right. You, Moses. What a deal. This is going to be great. What? You talking to me? Moses, there's no one else around for miles and miles. Who do you think I'm talking to? Lord, I think you got the wrong boy. I mean, look at me. I'm a nothing. I'm a nobody. I don't know how to lead anybody out of Egypt, much less go tell Pharaoh, let my people go. I mean, I don't even know your name. Are you sure you didn't take a wrong turn at the Nile River? When Moses said, I'm a nothing, I'm a nobody, in the world's eyes, he was absolutely right. I mean, look, he was 80 years old, out in the wilderness tending sheep. And they weren't even his own sheep. He was tending his father-in-law's flocks. He was about as far away from God as you could possibly get, or so he thought. That's when God said, look, Moses, don't worry about any of that. I've got you covered. All you need to do is walk with me because I'm going to be with you every step of the way. This is going to be great because guess what? I never lose. So you get yourself on down to Egypt right now. Okay, Lord, I guess you got me backed into a corner. Egypt, here we come. So Moses finds himself back in Egypt. And of course, Pharaoh isn't going to let those people go. So God sends plague after plague on the Egyptians. He turns their water into blood. He sends hail. He sends frogs. He sends locusts. He sends darkness. And during each of these plagues, Moses' confidence in God is growing and growing. Finally, the 10th plague comes, and Israel marches out of Egypt with Moses at the front. He leads them right through the Red Sea. Pharaoh's army is destroyed, and Moses leads them all the way to Mount Sinai, where God gives him those 10 commandments. And as he's walking down the slope of the mountain, he thinks, wow, if my face is glowing, I must be really tight with God. What a big change. Unlike Moses, many people don't really feel that close to God. They wonder, what is God's purpose for my life? They don't really hear clearly from God in prayer, and they're truly unsure of what God's will is for them. Some Christians aren't really certain that they are God's children. They wonder about their salvation. But that's not the way God wants it to be. He really wants a strong connection with each of his children, just like he had with Moses. Now, you probably won't lead millions of slaves to become a new nation, and it's doubtful that your face is going to glow. Moses already got that one. But a strong, deep, close connection with God will make all the difference in your life. How can that happen? Well, with Moses, he grew in oneness with God. He began to love God more and more and made a full commitment to him for his life. His dependence on God, his confidence in God's ability just shot through the roof. And of course, he was in constant communication with God, hearing clearly his directions in prayer. And whenever there was a conflict, he went to God and they resolved it. That made all the difference in his life. And he's not the only one. The Bible is full of stories of people who grew in oneness with God. People like Joseph there in Egypt, the prophet Samuel, the apostle Paul, women like Ruth or Queen Esther, Mary Magdalene. You might say that growing in oneness with God is its own reward. It's that connection that really counts. But Moses' life wasn't a bed of roses. The Israelites were a difficult people to lead. They rebelled against God, so he had to lead them around in the wilderness for 40 more years. But during that time, his connection with God made it all worthwhile. Moses saw some wild and crazy things in his life, but he walked with God each step of the way, and that deep connection made all the difference for him. I don't know what your life is like. You've probably got some ups and downs. Like Moses, you may even think, I'm a nothing, I'm a nobody. My life doesn't even matter. But I can assure you that is absolutely not true. In God's eyes, you're extremely valuable. He wants a deep, personal relationship with you. He wants a connection that is so close that you grow to be one with him. And if God wants that, don't you think you should want it too? After all, one of the great benefits of growing in oneness with God is a deep, close connection with him that makes all the difference in your life. How strong is your connection with God? Are you growing in oneness with him? Let God lead you closer to him every day. See you next time.